Hey, what's up everybody and welcome back. It's been a rather busy day as the second big showcase of the day just finished up being PlayStation State of Play. Of course, I covered the big Nintendo Direct this morning, so if you did miss that, definitely go check that out. But Sony, they just dropped their own little event as well that was roughly 20 minutes long, where they talked about 10 different games. And they did reveal a couple major PlayStation 5 exclusives that I think is going to excite a lot of you all out there. Now, they didn't really talk about their big first-party games as much, which might be disappointing for some, but I thought this was a good, short, to-the-point showcase with some really exciting surprises, especially in terms of those exclusives. And actually, let's just get right into those exclusives for that matter. They did reintroduce Project Eve as, interestingly enough, a Sony interactive entertainment game, which I believe means we are talking about a second-party game here. In other words, it is developed by a third-party studio, but PlayStation did help out with this game in some shape or form, hence the console exclusivity. Now, it will release on PC as well, so do keep that in mind. This does seem to be more common for PlayStation games, it seems like, with these, at least with these third-party partnerships. They don't mind releasing them on PC as well. But I'd say this is a big get for PlayStation. This is a game that has grabbed a lot of attention since it was first announced a couple years ago, and really I'd say for good reason, as it consistently looks good. It's got a fast-paced, over-the-top combat style to it. It's got those AAA visuals that you want to see, and it just looks like an insanely fun game with a lot of potential. Now, it is a Chinese-developed game inspired by titles such as Nier Automata, Bayonetta, and even God of War. So if you like any of those games, that's certainly exciting to hear. But I think you can really see that with the combat and design of its characters. I think it especially resembles Bayonetta and Nier, which I am all for considering how good those games are. And really, Project Eve, which is now titled Stellar Blade, definitely looks like it has a lot of potential. And now knowing that Sony is helping out in some shape or form, I think makes this game even more exciting, because that means that this game isn't just a looker. I mean, I think we kind of all saw that by this point, but they clearly have enough confidence in this game to fully invest into its exclusivity. That's a good sign for this game, and that's why that kind of stands out to me. But this is definitely a game I think worth paying attention to when it releases sometime in 2023. Now, the other major surprise was that Sony Interactive Entertainment once again is partnering up with another third-party studio, but this time for a very well-known developer being none other than Team Ninja. Now, of course, they've worked on some excellent games in the past, such as Ninja Gaiden. You have Nioh, of course, so we know for a fact Team Ninja knows how to make great games. But here, they're working on Rise of the Ronin, and wow, this game actually looks incredible based on the short amount of gameplay that they showed here today. It's even more impressive when you realize how far away this game is releasing. I'll get into that here in just a moment, but obviously, this game will draw a lot of comparisons to games like Ghost of Tsushima, and then Sekiro being set in 1863 Japan. But that's really just because of its setting, and I don't think that does this game the justice that it deserves. Without a doubt, I fully expect Rise of the Ronin to be its own thing. Team Ninja really is just so good when it comes to its combat, and I think that you're even seeing that here with its small snippets of gameplay so far. It looks brutal, and it looks fun. I mean, that's just Team Ninja for you, though. What I'll kind of say about this game is that I think that this immediately shot up my own personal list for most anticipated PlayStation 5 games. That's how good I think this game looks right now. Now, the only problem here is that unfortunately, this is a 2024 game. So it's still a long ways away, but like I said earlier, honestly, I think that makes its debut trailer even more impressive. I mean, the fact that this game looks this good already, and it's still possibly nearly 2 years away, I mean, can you imagine how good its final release will be? Yeah, I think that there's real reason to be hyped up for Rise of the Ronin. Those were really the two major exclusive announcements made here, but of course, they did give us an update for God of War Ragnarok. I know a lot of y'all are looking forward to that one, and it's about as good as you would think. Based on this trailer and just based off of past history, I absolutely do expect another Game of the Year contender here. That's how good this game looks. And I don't think really much else needs to be said about this game. It just looks incredible, and I could not be any more impressed with its newest trailer. As a bit of a bonus, though, they did announce a special edition God of War controller. It will release alongside Ragnarok on November 9th, but if you want this special edition controller, just to be safe, you might want to go ahead and pre-order it. Pre-orders do go live on September 27th, so go ahead and mark your calendar for that. They've yet to reveal the price, but I am expecting it to be $75 like some of their other controllers. Now, another game that they announced here that I'm personally highly excited for is Like a Dragon Ishin. Now, this is actually a remake that's coming to the West for the very first time, and yes, it is an RGG game, which are most well known for the Yakuza franchise, which right there is the reason that I'm excited for this game. I am such a huge fan of the Yakuza games, including Judgment as well, and here's another one of their spin-offs set in a historical thriller. It's actually based on an 1860s Kyo, a fictionalized version of Kyoto. And I have to say, I love this idea. You can see it has some of those beloved characters like Kiryu, but with a completely unique setting here, it just changes everything. I mean, there's even sword-based and revolver-based combat in this game. Of course, per usual, it'll be over the top like some of their other games, but they always deliver on fun games, and of course, they specialize in making just gripping and thrilling story-driven games. So yeah, I am super excited for this one when it releases in February of 2023. Now, after the showcase, they did reveal it is a multi-platform game, and it will release on the Xbox Series and PC as well. I'd actually expect to see more on this game tomorrow, though, at the RGG livestream, so go ahead and make sure to subscribe for any type of update on that. If anything interesting does happen there, of course, I will let you all know as soon as possible. Tekken 8 was also finally made official, and one thing that was really interesting about this specific announcement is that it was only revealed for the PlayStation 5. Now, according to the official Bandai Namco channel, they did confirm it will be heading to the Xbox Series and a PC as well, so don't worry about all that. It is absolutely multi-platform. But why this in specific is interesting is because it is a next generation only game. This is yet another game moving away from the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which does seem to be a bit of a trend, not just with today's games, but just in general for that matter. I do suspect that for the most part, next year we will see less and less of those PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games. But this here is one of the first major fighting game franchises to solely release as a next generation title. It looks really pretty as well, and I mean, if you've been asking for games to take advantage of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, well, right here is the game that very much does that. The visual effects that they're pulling off here looks incredible. If anything, I mean, if you like Tekken, well, Tekken 8 looks very good. Really, the FGC as a whole seems to have some really exciting games to look forward to with Street Fighter 6 and now Tekken 8 as well. Unfortunately, though, no release date has been mentioned as of yet. Now, they did also talk about a few PlayStation VR 2 games here. I don't think that they were overly impressive, though. I want Sony to come out and kind of blow me away with a PlayStation VR 2 game, but I don't think what they showed today really did that, or at least for me per se. But, I mean, if you like Star Wars, they did announce Tales from the Galaxy's Edge Enhanced Edition. It looks okay. I think the visuals look okay for a VR title, but in terms of gameplay, I think it looks meh. I don't know. I just wasn't impressed by this showing. But again, if you like Star Wars, hey, that Enhanced Edition is coming to PSVR 2 in 2023. Demio was the other PlayStation VR 2 game that they revealed here, which is a tabletop RPG. It's actually available on Quest, I believe. But again, I don't think this was a great showing. I'm sure some people will enjoy a game like this. I'm not saying that they won't. But as a whole, I don't really think Sony is doing PSVR 2 many favors by revealing these specific games as some of your early titles. I mean, VR is already kind of niche the way it is, so it needs high-budget, big games to really sell it. And again, I don't think that these are quite it. I really thought this was a weak showing for the PlayStation VR 2 headset. At the very least, they do have Horizon Call of the Mountain, which does look good. That is in development, and hopefully that turns out well, because I'd say right now that is definitely their system seller. Now, they did also talk about Hogwarts Legacy once again, which continues to look really good, but this time Sony was kind of flexing that marketing partnership that they have, because this was all about the exclusive quest that PlayStation will get, titled The Haunted Hogsmeade Shop. It certainly had those spooky vibes to it, but yes, this quest will not be available on other platforms. This includes an additional dungeon, the shopkeeper's cosmetic set, and also the in-game Hogsmeade shop. So there you have it. If you want that extra content, then PlayStation will be the way to go. Now, I know not everybody necessarily likes partnerships like this, and I can't really say that I do either, regardless of who does it, but there's a reason that they keep partnering up with these big third-party games, and that's because it does entice fans to purchase their version of the game as opposed to other platforms. It's just one of those business decisions, and Hogwarts Legacy certainly looks like it will be a very big release if they execute it properly. Now, for fans of Japanese games, I got some good news for you as well, because Bandai Namco just announced a brand new third-person sci-fi shooter, Synduality. And this one actually looks pretty exciting. I mean, it looks like a higher budget game, which is always notable when it comes to Japanese games. But I think at the very least, the production values are there for this game. Plus, I mean, we don't really see many third-person shooters from Japan specifically. So here with them mixing in the anime art style with them utilizing third-person shooting and mechs, I mean, if you like any of those things, then keep an eye on Synduality, which is releasing in 2023 for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, and then also PC. As for the last game, they did announce Pacific Drive, which will release in 2023. This was by far their strangest game here, and I don't really know what to make of this game specifically. It's described as a first-person survival driving game, and I mean, it might be fun, but I don't really know about this one. This might be one of those games that might be more fun to play than watch, because, yeah, this trailer wasn't really doing it for me. I'll just kind of leave it at that. But there you go. That was all the games that they talked about at this showcase, and honestly, I actually liked it. No, they didn't have those big first-party games here outside of God of War Ragnarok, but there were some really exciting exclusives here, especially with Rise of the Ronin, and there was also some big third-party multi-platform games as well, like a Dragon. Ishin looks good, Synduality seems to have some potential, and then Tekken. That game looks just absolutely stunning. As always though, of course, I wanted to hear y'all's opinion as well. So I asked you all, what letter grade would you give PlayStation State of Play 9.13.22? And as you can see here, 11% of you gave it an A, 25% of you gave it a B, 39% of you gave it a C, 13% of you gave it a D, and 12% of you gave it an F. Now, I don't really think those Fs and Ds are all that fair, but all in all, this is about what I'd expect. For a lot of people, I can see why this would be an average showcase, but again, those two major exclusives, that's really what kind of sold me on this showcase. And there was also, again, I think some other exciting games as well. Looking through the comments, though, it does seem like one thing is very clear, and that is that Tekken 8, it impressed a lot of you out there, and I can definitely see why. It is looking very, very good, to say the least. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode. But if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.